Hello, sweetheart. I found one of the best Christmas books and I wanted to read it to you. I hope you had a great day and you're ready to go night-night. So the book is called A Year Without Santa Claus. I'm going to let you look at the picture. I'll read to you. Have you been told, did you ever hear of the curious, furious, fidgety year when Santa Claus unhitched his sleigh and vowed that he was taking holiday? How did it happen this way? It was long before you were living, not yet Christmas, but past Thanksgiving, though I can't give you the very date. Santa got up one morning late, pulled on one boot, then its twin, ruffled the whiskers on his chin, and sat back down on the side of the bed. Great North Star, but I'm tired, he said. Painting wagons red and bright, sharpening ice skates half the night, wrapping presents in ribbons and gauze, has worn me weary, said Santa Claus. A crick in my back, a cold in my nose, aches in my fingers, and all 10 toes, and sort of the kind of a kink inside whenever I think of the Christmas ride. Look, there he is. There's Miss Claus all sleeping. Into the workshop limped the saint. He sniffed the varnish and smelled the paint, and a reeling feeling came over him, stealing to see things crammed from floor to ceiling. Rocking horses and shaggy manes, balls, dolls, electric trains, gloves, mitts, doctor's kits, rubber boots, cowboy suits, kites for flying in the park, bicycles, Noah's Ark. He started to shake and he started to shiver at the thought of the load that he must soon deliver. Look at him, he's looking at it all. It's so stressful. And he said with a sigh, oh dear, as he buttoned his vest, I wish one year I could take a rest. And with those words out, he stood stock still, and then he whispered, I think I will. He cried with his eyes ablaze, everybody gets to rest on the holidays. Sailors and tailors and cooks do too, policemen and writers and books do. Tamers of lions and leopards, preachers and teachers and shepherds, watchmen and Scotchmen, Spaniards and Turks. Butchers and bakers and grocery clerks, they take time off at Christmas nears, all except me, so it appears. That saint or not, it's time I got my first vacation in 1,000 years. Look at his face, he's determined. Out in the stables, nuzzling the hay, the reindeer dreamed of Christmas Day. But Santa phoned the reindeer groom, hang up the harnesses in the big storeroom. Look, there's the... He called the elves and he said to the gnome, cover up the shelves, we're staying home. What? Cover the shelves, cried the gnomes and the elves. Cover the dolls, electric trains, the rocking horses with shaggy manes, and the rubber boots for splashing in the parks, and cowboy suits and Noah's Arks. Alas, ack, for we couldn't believe he wouldn't be riding on Christmas Eve. Look at their faces. Santa is determined to cancel Christmas. He wants a vacation. Put 'em away, roared Santa, vexed. This year's presents will do for next, warned the people. Tell the papers, I'm too much tired for Christmas crapers. Crick in my back, cold in my lingers. Aches on my toes and all 10 fingers. Bit of a lumbo, torch and grout, tumbling down chimneys is simply out. I may be a saint of the children's nation, but this year is my first vacation. Look at the elves. They are shocked by what Santa... Oh, look at his face. They are completely shocked by what Santa just said. Santa says he's too tired not coming. Well, you can imagine more or less what happened when that news reached the press. Headlights screamed, wires went humming. Santa's too tired, he's not coming. And the word flashed far and wide, you should have heard how the children cried. So violently they sobbed their griefs, the shops ran out of handkerchiefs. Their tears filled in the kitchen sinks, the cellars and empty skating rinks. All those wept in school as they went and as they wept, they dampened their pillows while they slept. Before those darling eyes got drier, all the rivers rose 3 feet higher. Look at them all crying. And I don't know what would have happened quite, except for Ignatius Thistlewhite. Look at them crying. Ignatius Thistlewhite was a boy in Texas, or was it Illinois, 6 years old, but brave for his years. He sobbed no sobs, he wept no tears. He stood as tall as in his class to say, Santa deserves a holiday. No, 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 came the children's plaint. What is Christmas without our saint? Shucks, now, fellows, gosh, good gracious, Christmas is Christmas, cried Ignatius. And everyone tells me, whom I've met, it's a day to give as well as to get. Since all these years in the children's cause, Santa's been giving without one pause. Let's pull together in the Christmas weather and give this year to Santa Claus. Hooray, his classmates said. He's right. 3 cheers for Ignatius Thistlewhite. Look, they're all crying. But he's not crying. Look at those tears. Look, he's got a map. He's thinking about it. It says, fast as a hurricane, children's hurried for happy message around the world, over each continent, isles. Let's give Santa a Merry Christmas. With snow on the earth already whitening, but they rolled up their sleeves and worked like lightning. They opened their piggy banks, racked up their brains. They chartered buses and special trains, and ships and sleighs and hydroplanes. To each reach the North Pole was, by the 24th, was their goal. These are all the ships and the wagons and the boats and the trucks trying to make it to the North Pole in time. Let's look at this one. This one's cute. East, south, west, and north came gifts and gifts to spare from clever children everywhere. Slippers with zippers to zip on, soak in a bath or slip on, geraniums pink on a pot, one guppy, and a puppy named Spot. Pillows and strawberry jam, dressing gowns with his monogram, 10 harmonicas for him to play on, hand-painted pictures done in crayon, mufflers and pipes and an easy chair, and lots of winter underwear. In the New York State, they called him Pudge, cooking ham on a plate of homemade fudge. A little girl guides of Britain each made him scarlet mittens, while a boy in Siam sent a sesame kitten. He sent him lemon drops by the carton, ashtrays, models in the kitten, jackknives and pen wipers, cakes and curlers and magic pencils, and wrote 3 colors. Tons! Hadn't a penny to spend, and they wrote him letters signed a friend. And they had more fun that strange December, they said, than they could ever remember. Look at all the kids. They're bringing their gifts to load it up in the truck. Look, there's Santa. Up at the pole in the frigid hay, the idle reindeer dreamed of play. Comet nickered for oats and corn, Dancer branched his velvet horn, while sadly, sourly lounged at home each idle elf and gnome. Santa sat poking the fire and blinking, but nobody knew what he was thinking. Look, there's all the elves. They're all thinking. Look, she's reading a book. They're bored. They don't know what to do. Santa's just sitting there thinking away with his little hot chocolate. Oh, look, there's a picture of Santa with all his little elves. Look, there's Santa's house with Santa. Then suddenly from the sky there came a sound of planes. He heard the hoot and the cry of ships and special trains. Noel, tooted the sleighs. Honk, said the buses cried. And out his sturdy window Santa put his head. He looked to the left, he looked to the right. He didn't trust his very own eyesight. So many, so merry, so more and more. Packages were rolling to his front door. Smacked at his door still, they thundered. 1,000,000, 1,000, 100. Flat ones and fat ones and lean ones and crimson and silver and green ones and broad ones. Odd ones, plain, romantic ones, big and little, and great, gigantic ones. Parcels from London, Rome, Atlanta, and each addressed to Santa. Like there's the dogs and the boats and the buses and the planes. All coming their way to Santa's house. Oh, wow, look at all those presents. Atop of the banner glinted from Ignatius Thistlewhite had printed in the words, good luck and holiday mirth from all the children upon earth. With toots and hoots and horns lightened and buses turned and trains departed, leaving the saints surrounded by parcels piled to the polar sky. Santa was silent for a minute. His eye looked bright, but a tear stood in it. And then he blew his nose like a trumpet blast. God bless my soul, he said. By the big Borellus, by my maps and charts, I didn't know children had such kind hearts. How could a man feel gladder and prouder? Look at Santa, his little eyes. He's all super excited to see all the presents the children did for him. Oh, look, he's got his little thing. He's pointing. He turned to his staff, and his voice got louder. Gnomes, elves, every mother's son, don't start standing. There's work to be done. Bring in the barrels, fetch the boxes, carry those packages, and don't break one. Where to put them? There wasn't space in the parlor, the study, or any place. They overflowed in the couch and the table. They filled the house, the sheds, and the stable. Slide from the mantles, jammed in the casement, budged in the attic, and burst from the basement. Like there's a picture of them all bursting. There's nothing to do, exclaimed the elves, except to empty some of the workspace shelves. Like they're running and trying to take them back. Off those shelves then Santa faces, whisked with paint, rocking horses. And the presents didn't fit, came down the kite and the doctor's kit. There still wasn't room for it all, so away they went, the basketball, the cowboy suits, the rubber boots, the bicycles, and the talking dolls. Not until the time when the twilight regained, not a single toy on the shelves remained. All were sacked and packed away, and one place left in the Christmas sleigh. Look at that sleigh. Then Santa gazed from the floor to the rafters, and he gave his midst of shout and laughter. Laughed aloud, ho-hos, laughed vast ha-has. What a joke, he said on Santa Claus. Look at Santa. You might as well phone the reindeer groom and take them down their harness in the big storeroom and get my gloves and rope for my lap, and my coat and my warmest stocking cap. There sits in the sleigh with the toys, so what can I do tonight but ride? But what about your gout? The gnomes cried out. What about your aches and your cricks and your spine? Pooh, laughed Santa. My back feels fine. I never felt younger, never felt stronger, haven't got any symptoms any longer. And before midnight bells went chiming, I'd just like to do some chimney climbing. So harness the reindeers and let's rip 'em up. It's time to begin my favorite trip. Look at the reindeer is so excited. They're going to get to go on their trip. Look, there's the sleigh and Santa and all the reindeer. With a furry and a scurry and a chatter and a hurry, they brought him his cap and his lap robe furry. They roused up Cupid, they rubbed down Vixen, they polished the bells on Donner and Blixen, and they cheers from the gnomes and the elves, applause. Then off through the night they flew, Santa Claus. Look at the bike. And I've heard the old people often say, there never was such a Christmas day, never such joy after Santa swirled the rooftop around the world, while the home of the sleepy boy in Texas or Illinois. A special letter was left that night addressed to Ignatius Thistlewhite, and it clipped to the handlebars like a medal of the best two-wheeler a boy could pedal. Dear Sir, was written in Santa's hand, please thank the children in every land. Tell them I'll take good care, I hope, of the guppy and the puppy and the slippery soap. I like my pipes, I love my chair, and I do appreciate the underwear. And I pledged this promise on my sled I pack. Year after year, I'll come back. Vacation, I guess, weren't meant for me, and I'll never want another one. Yours, S.C. Look at those kiddos. And that's one reason you may believe why your children are merry on Christmas Eve. You know yourself. As you hang your stocking, it doesn't matter if the winds are knocking through, the storm falls heavy, through the great gale roars, through nobody else would budge outdoors, snug in your bed while your tempest drops. You can count your blessings on fingers and thumbs. They're looking out the door. Look, it's all snowy. It's all building up. You barely see their little faces. For a yearly, nearly, faithful, truly, somehow Santa Claus always comes. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful book. And just know that Nani loves you. And Merry Christmas.